Hey there, Carolyn Rustin here. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who've been here before, welcome back. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome aboard to your first Facebook Live. Now, I'm just putting out here, I did a Facebook Live at 1 o'clock today, and for some reason, it hasn't gone live here. So if you're seeing me for the second time, I apologize. Please put it in the comments because I'm really curious if it actually went out or not. So anyway, here is take two. But I want to talk to you today about feeling significant. Hi, Nikki. And for many of us, 40 plus, and that's everyone in this group, that feeling of significance generally tends to lack because our lives have changed. And where we felt significance before often isn't there. So the easiest example I use is when it comes to kids. If you've had children and you've raised children and they're getting older now and they've moved on, moved out, that feeling of being important, of being mom and being there and being that, a high priority in their life, you start shifting down a bit. And that's difficult. And it's not even a conscious thought or anything. It's just something that happens and that a lot of women really struggle with. So at this point, now where do you find your significance? Where do you feel important? And significance, I keep using that word over and over again. It's important because and I do this with my clients, it's part of what's called the 6 basic human needs. It's not Maslow's needs, it's something different. And the first 4, it doesn't matter who you are on this planet, you will fulfill these needs. But whether it's they're being fulfilled in a positive way or a negative way, that's what really determines a lot of your happiness. We all need to feel significant. This is not about ego. We all need to feel important and valued and worthy and all those things. And if we don't, these are traps that sometimes we fall into. We fall into the trap of the busyness trap. Because the more busy I am, the more important I am. So I know I have phone calls with some people in my life that I'll say, hey, how you doing? How's your day? And I'll get something like this. Well, I did 6 loads of laundry today. I did grocery shopping. I dusted. And they list all these items that they did throughout the day. Now, I called to say how their day is, and I'm expecting, yeah, I had a great day, got some stuff done around the house, and, now I'm going to go do this, or, and just start chatting. It's not this grocery list of everything they've accomplished. But when we are not feeling significant in our life, we need to feel that somewhere. So if we have this to-do list that's so long, and we have all these things to do, and especially if we're accomplishing them, then we feel significant. We want to go a little more substantial than that. The other way some people feel more significant is through their problems. Because if they have a lot of problems or really serious problems, then they're going to feel very significant. Again, this is all in a negative way, and these are not conscious decisions. I don't mean to imply by any stretch of the imagination that these people, and these people is also me, I've been through this myself. It's not that you are thinking, how can I feel more significant in my life? Let's cause more chaos and cause more problems. No. These are all subconscious decisions that are made. So if you have a lot of problems or really serious problems, you often get from people, oh, that's really tough, and how do you deal with that? Susan, that's really tough. How do you manage all that? And it makes you feel more significant. But again, these are negative ways. So let's look at, okay, how can we make the shift? How can we pivot so that we aren't stuck in fulfilling our significance cup in negative ways? So the first one I'm going to talk about is just creating some really meaningful goals for yourself. Instead of your goal being, oh, I want to knock off these 10 items on my to-do list. And I get that those things probably have to be done. I get that. But what about shifting and figuring out something that you would like to do for you? And I'll tell you, often when I ask clients that I start to work with, if I could give you an extra hour of the day, if time's an issue, what would you like to do? And I say 9 times out of 10, I'm looking at a woman looking, I don't know, because they've never really had to focus on them. They have spent all their lives focusing on other people and what other people need or want, not on what they need or want. So it's starting to make that shift and that pivot. Hi, Joy and Karen and Terry. So looking at, okay, what's a goal that I can set for myself? Is there something that I'd like to do, something I'd like to learn, or something I'd like to grow with? And maybe spending an hour every day or an hour a couple times a week, depending on what your schedule looks like, but dedicating that time so it's not about the busyness, it's not about the problems, it's something positive for you to learn and grow with. The second thing I want to talk about is actually engaging in activities that require your presence. So it's not the busy work, it's not the multitasking at everything, because that in itself, and I know, queen of multitasking, I had 3 kids within 2.5 years. And I remember back then, like, I was really proud that I was the queen of multitasking. So, and it served me back then. But then when it continues, it didn't serve me anymore, because it ended up being more meaningless, the things that I was busy with instead of things that were of substance. So thinking of activities that require your presence. And maybe these are things that you enjoy doing, maybe like gardening, or maybe you're artistic and you like to take photographs or paint or whatever it is. Maybe you're musical and it's playing an instrument, sitting down playing the piano, but it requires your focus. And so it's not about knocking off things on a list. It's not about focusing on all the things that are problems for you, but focusing on something that's enjoyable and that can give you joy. The third thing I'm going to talk about is, and this is something that's big that I talk to a lot of my clients about, is when they're so focused on everything that's wrong in their life, and legitimately a lot of things that are wrong in their life, I often encourage them to think about volunteering and helping out someone else. Because one of the easiest way to feel more significant is by helping somebody else. So I often talk about the example way back when. For those of you who don't know me, I suffered a number of concussions. And after my last one, I spent years where I had constant headaches, the nausea, the dizziness, hard to focus, overwhelm, all that stuff. And it gets easy to really get swallowed up in that. And I did make a pivot, and I did start volunteering, and I kept it simple. Like, this doesn't have to be big. I used to go and meet with this one woman who, she was suffering from MS. She couldn't get out of her house much. I'd go and see her. It was every Wednesday afternoon for a couple hours. We'd sit down, we'd play cribbage. And initially I went to help her. What I didn't realize till later was how much she helped me and made me feel important and significant. So helping out with someone else is huge. Okay, so if you're feeling not very significant in your life and feeling, hi Trina and Carol, and you're feeling like you're dealing with all this crap and negativity and problems, and you're having to knock off this to-do list, and you're lacking substance. So one of the things you can do, think about, is volunteering. And again, it can be small. This doesn't have to be a big ordeal, a big project that you're taking on. It can be small. It might even be a one-off thing, just to even kind of dip your toe in and just to see how it feels. The fourth strategy is talking about practicing gratitude. Now, when I talk to my clients about practicing gratitude, I really focus on little things, like the really little things. Hi, Karina. Not the big obvious things. We know that stuff. But it's the small stuff, because what happens is we start to train our brain. So if we have always been focusing on the negative and we've been focusing on problems, that's what our brain is looking for. So if I said to you right now, don't think of a blue elephant. I bet pretty much all of you are thinking of a blue elephant right now, aren't you? Give me a thumbs up if you're like, yeah, Carolyn, I'm thinking of a blue elephant. So we need to flip that script with our brain. And so one of the ways of doing that, hi Monica, is to actually start looking for those positive things. And when I say little, I mean little. So one of my perfect examples that I give, and it actually happened yesterday, I was driving on the highway and somebody wanted to cut in front of me, and I let them go, and I got the wave. Not the finger, I got the wave. And that just made my day. It seems like it's rare that anyone waves anymore when you let them in front of you, but when that person gave me the wave, I had my kids with me. I'm like, look, they gave me the wave. They were laughing at me. Anyway, someone holds a door open for you, someone says a kind word to you, someone smiles nicely at you, but it doesn't have to be dependent on someone else. You walk outside and you feel the warmth of the sun on your face. You hear the birds chirping, you look up at the beautiful blue sky, whatever it is. I mean little. And writing these down is important because it's one thing to think them, but when you write it down, it reinforces it. So having a journal and writing 3 things every day, small, little, that starts to retrain your brain to look for those positive things. And the last one is to really work on nurturing your relationships. And the one thing I like to talk about is not putting all your eggs in one basket. So if you focus solely on your children, if you have children, and that's where you get that feeling of significance is through them, well, like your job is to raise these children to be lovely people, but independent. And so when they move out and they start lives of their own and you're no longer top priority, you've done your job. But if all your eggs have been in the basket of feeling significant with your kids, when they leave this big hole. If all your eggs are in the basket of your significant other, then again, if they have a life outside of you, which we all should, when they're off doing something else, you're isolated. Making sure that you have other friends or family or whoever that you can pick up the phone and talk to, or, say, hey, let's go out for coffee, whatever it is. Having those eggs spread out makes it more balanced and then will make you feel more significant. So taking the time to really nurture those relationships is really key. So I hope these strategies are worthwhile for you. And I just want to go through them. For those of you who joined on, partway through the Facebook Live, I will post this. And hopefully, as I mentioned at the beginning, there were some glitches. This is the second round. I don't know why this happened. But anyway, so 5 strategies. So if you're not feeling very significant and you are focusing on problems, because that will make you feel significant. If you're focusing on the busyness and getting things done, that will make you feel significant, but in a negative way. So flipping that script. So creating meaningful goals. Like, what's something that you can do for you that's fun and enjoyable for you, a way that you can grow and expand. The second one is making sure that you're doing activities where you're present, that you're not scattered. You're not thinking of all these other things that you can do. No, being in the moment and just being able to breathe. Think how nice that would feel. The third one, volunteering or helping others. That's a great way to feel significant, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed with a lot of problems. When you step out of that and start helping someone else, it's an instant way of feeling more significant. Practicing gratitude, so retraining your brain to look for those little positive things. Write them down every day. And focusing on nurturing your relationships. So those are important too. When you're struggling in life, it's good to have people that you can reach out to that aren't going to drain you, the people that can lift you up and support you. So hopefully this has been helpful. If this is something you're struggling with and you want a little more guidance with, and you'd just like to hop on a call and have a quick chat, type me below. No problem, we can make that happen. If you're watching this on the replay, type replay below. Anyway, hopefully you have a wonderful day and we'll see you next week. Take care.